What's going on, beautiful people of YouTube? It's Renebean. Welcome to another episode of Life of a Game Hunter / Collector. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to get done today. I know that I gotta figure out what to do with all these N64 games. As you can see, don't really have room up here on the shelf. So I'm going to focus a lot of today's episode on just rearranging the game room a little bit, taking a lot of this stuff down and relocating it, as well as I got a bunch of games that I need to add to the shelf. And we all know that can be somewhat of a hassle. And depending on how long that takes, I wouldn't mind going out to the shop and getting a couple NES consoles done. I know I got some defective ones out there, but I got a feeling this stuff in here could take quite a bit of time. But anyways, sit back and relax. Let's do some changes. So before we actually do any major changes, I'm going to put up the games that I have. Cartridge-based stuff is always easy to put up. It doesn't take much time. It's only when I get into disc-based games that it's more problematic. But one thing I've been thinking about doing is cleaning this area out. It's got a bunch of little knickknacks, some PSP movies, getting those out of there and start to put up actual console boxes there, because I got a few. Let me show you here. You know, obviously I love console boxes, or box console. I don't know why I'm saying console boxes, but box consoles, it's one of my favorite things to collect for. Got stacks of them. And this other one that came in, this NES one right here, I'd like to put that over there. But until I do, I got to clean all this stuff out. But let's put these cartridge games up and see where it goes from there. Alright, I thought I'd show you before I put these up the games that I actually get to add to my collection, which I'm really happy about. First up, we got Jurassic Park Part 2, The Chaos Continues. Honestly, I didn't realize that I didn't have this. I always thought I did. Went back to check and I didn't. I was like, oh man, I gotta play that. I played that. Definitely a lot better than the first one that came out for the Super Nintendo. We get to add the Fishing Master, Mark Davis here. And it's a Natsume game. Always look up your Natsume games. Some can be worth quite a bit. This one, however, is not. Terrible looking back on there. I know some people are going to be like, man, look at all those stickers, man. Aren't you going to take those off? Honestly, stickers don't bother me. It's kind of like... I like the stories that are associated with it. I like where the games have been. You can see all the locations that it was before, you know, with like rental stickers and that sort of thing. Alright, next up we got Mario's Time Machine. Very cool. Looney Tunes B-Ball. That thing's got a massive sticker on there. If this label is broken, think again. Dennis the Menace, an ocean game here. Bassmasters Pro Edition. Believe it or not, man, the old Bassmaster games for Super Nintendo, I used to love playing those things like crazy. Let's see. Tiny Toons Adventures Wacky Sports. This was allegedly $7.99 at one point. Completely covered in stickers. We got Alpha Mission for the NES. Very cool. Wipeout Pure for the PSP. We got Return to Neverland, the Peter Pan game. Galaga. We got Kicks here for the 5200. We got 13, and then we got Splat Paintball here. So very cool. Get to add those to the collection. I always love adding things to the SNES collection. SNES, honestly, it wasn't the biggest thing that I wanted to collect for when I got into it, but it just kind of turned into it. And I've always loved Super Nintendo, but I kind of only wanted to go for the games that I really wanted. But now it's just turned into, oh man, I just love adding anything to it. It's amazing. So many wonderful games on this platform, it's ridiculous. So let's go ahead and put these on the shelf and then start tackling all this stuff over here. You can see we got this bootleg here I gotta do for an episode coming up, but let me finish this up and then we'll tackle that stuff over there. Well, this sucks. I went to put the final game on this shelf and it did that to me. I didn't realize this thing was rotating like that. This is not connected over here. I gotta fix this. I thought I had two screws over here like every board does. That way it doesn't, but this one, for whatever reason, didn't. So this happened. I'm not happy about that at all. That sucks. I gotta put all these back on the shelf. It looks like we may not be able to refurbish those NES consoles after I get all this done. Whenever you're making a game room, make sure everything is nice and sturdy. Every single one of these shelves has two nice screws into it. This one, for whatever reason, Does not. I can't have that. We can't have nice games on this shelf falling like that. Oh, it was such a disaster. Alright, let's clean it up. Alright guys, so I got all the games put up. Fixed that shelf. God, what a disaster, but these things do happen. We're getting close to running out of room there, but that's okay because I still got that one shelf right there all displayed, so I could probably add another 40, 50 games if I need to. This is the one console box that I'm wanting to take all this stuff out, and I still got to figure out what to do with it. I got like the Assassin's Creed blade that my wife picked up at a yard sale for, I think, like $1. I forgot that's modern. I'm trying to take all the more modern stuff out. You know, in the future, I'm still debating on whether to do this, is to take out all the DS, PSP stuff and the Game Boy display rack and make a entire shelf right here. I kind of want to do something like a themed shelf, maybe like survival horror, maybe like another series. I'm not too sure yet. But this console box I need to put over here, as well as maybe a few of these console boxes, just because they're getting too tall and they always risk falling over. Plus, when we get over there into that N64 stuff, I got to pull some of that stuff down, and I think it's all going to fit in here nicely. The only problem is this one power cord actually runs and connects to my LED lights. It's just an extension to be able to hook up there, so I need that there, so that one little spot's going to be open. But let me clean this stuff out here, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with the PSP stuff. I might put that in the other room, just, you know, PSP movies, unless I find like a little cubby hole to put them in. Look at the original tripod right here. People think I'm crazy, but this is the junky little tripod that I use. It was just 2 mason jars taped together with a little cheap camera tripod on. That's where I came from. Now we're doing things a little bit more professional, but hey, you gotta love your roots. But let's clean this up. Alright guys, so I got that. All I did was just consolidate those two, made it a tall stack, got rid of the Assassin's Creed blade and a few other little trinkets. It already looks a lot better. It's a lot more clean, and I can still get to all my Game Boy games, because if you don't know, those 2 NES boxes, as well as all the boxes in these 2 bags, are just filled with, you know, handheld games. That's why I'm considering doing something with this display rack, getting that going. While I like displaying those games, I'm just running out of room, and I would like to display something a little bit differently. With that said, now I got to figure out what to do with all these N64 boxes. My idea is obviously I got to take down the Turbo Express box, maybe the N64 controller box, possibly these box Game Boy games, move all this up, and then have the spot for the N64 games. Because that's like 10 or 11 that I got to add, and I want to be able to add more in the future. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do with the Game Boy boxes. I love having them because, you know, you don't see them as often. So I just got to find a spot for them. So let me figure that out, and we'll see where we get from there. Alright guys, so I got all the Game Boy games, box Game Boy games down here on the floor. I've been working on moving this stuff down and up at the same time. Just noticed how bad the bow in that one board is. I guess it was a little bit more damp whenever I installed that. I'm probably going to have to replace that at some point. It's really noticeable, but what can you do? I put all the Super Nintendo games at the very top. They all fit, with the exception of having to put a couple on the front as display, but it kind of looks nice that way. So I'm moving the NES games up now, and then I'm going to start moving the N64 games. I'm going to have a lot of room. I may be able to put all the Game Boy games back up there on the shelf. And if that's the case, that'll be really nice, because I still haven't figured out what to do with them. So let me see how this looks, and we'll see how everything turns out. Alright guys, it is done. So I kind of got lucky. I was able to have just enough room left over to put some of the Game Boy boxes here while hiding a few non-desirables in the back. They're just sealed. They're not worth anything. I can't bring myself to throw them out. But up top, as you can see, we got the Super Nintendo games, followed by the NES games. It all looks very good and nice. Nothing's too tight in there. It's not shoved in any way. I left the controller box. It's the only box controller I have. Plus, it's a good divider between the N64 games. I'm almost up to 50 complete and box N64 games, which is very nice. And down here, I had a few box games, but now I got a bunch of manuals to the boxes that I don't have. And I figured this space right here will be really good for when I add another stack of N64 games. And I know some of y'all are out there thinking, like, man, you're running out of room. You don't have room for anything. Well, it's true and it's not true. If you look at like all the displayed games right here, if I turn those on their sides, you know how much like room that'll actually free up, you know, whether it's for my original Xbox collection or turn around to like my PlayStation collection. I designed it in a way to where whenever it does grow to the point to where it's just hard to fit anything, I can, you know, turn those games sideways, and I free up an exorbitant amount of room. And I've had to do that here multiple times. I think once it gets to the point to where I have no more room for display games, you know, where they're full facing like that, I'll probably be done at that point. I don't think there'd be much of anything else after, or to collect for, that I'm after. I think I'd have just about everything I wanted at that point. But that's it, guys. That's what we got done today. I'm not going to have time to go out there and get those NES consoles done. My wife's wanting to go out and get some things done. Plus, it's a good opportunity for me to hit some thrift stores and see if we can get some footage for another live episode. This looks really good over here. We got all that done. I'll be able to add a few more boxes to that. I did leave the Turbo Express box right on top of the Turbo Graphics box. I mean, it's just fitting. It looks like it's supposed to be there, so I like the way that turned out. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is the life of a game hunter / collector. We're not always out there refurbishing consoles or flipping and making money. Sometimes we're just in here grinding in the game room. Let me know down below if you've done any recent changes in your game room or how bad the struggle is to add things to your shelf. But as always, everybody out there, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.